Okay, 7 o'clock, 6 o'clock, I'm gonna call the meeting to order. First order of business, Pledge of Allegiance, please.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Consider of any changes, additions, or removals to the agenda?
We can strike number 7, please,
Number 7,
which is the review of the lease for the,
okay,
move that to next month.
okay. So, comments from citizens? Go ahead.
Hi, my name is Jim O'Malley. I was hoping to get an update on, last time we were here, we discussed a spillway repair at Site 5. I want to report to you that since then, that has been staked, and I'd like to thank the town. Somebody obviously went up there and pounded some stakes to check for expansion on that, which is great. I will say that we did get additional erosion at that site. The erosion's in depth as opposed to spreading out. A lot of the trees that were there have now sunk down into it. So I wanted to get an update on where that's at for the repairs.
Yeah, I believe.
You cover that under.
That's coming up? Okay.
Under item 9, I'll do it with the whole dam project. Just notes
Okay,
for you guys.
thank you.
Thanks. What I wanted to say tonight was that we're in kind of a unique situation in Vermont, in that we're kind of reliant upon the state in a lot of ways. But we're in this unique situation with the state. You know, I don't know if anybody's read this. This is the state auditor's report on Vermont and their dams and their dam management. It's a lengthy read, but what you come away from it with is there are 1,200 plus dams in Vermont, and there are 1 permanent employee and 2 temporary employees responsible for the inspections of all of those dams. Now, the other piece of that is they have set up a regimen of inspection. High hazard dams are inspected per their website every 2 years. That's really not adequate. If you look up in the state Vermont dam database, town of Ludlow owns all 4 of these dams. We own them. So I think what we want to do in this situation, and I'm not looking to lay blame anywhere on this, okay? As responsible citizens of the state of Vermont, I think it's, and our town, I think it's important for us to kind of take the wheel and do what we can to help. And one of the things we can do is be on top of our own dams that we own, because technically we're liable for all of that anyway. So we want to be on top of it. So what we can do to do that, there's some solutions in there in the back. There's 2 of them that I recommend. There's actually a page in there that'll show you the total amount of precipitation that occurred at Dam Site 5 this past month. Okay, so in September, I think it was 2.72 inches fell. One of those events was 1.6 inches. That further eroded that cut. So as people who own these dams, we want to know what rain is happening up there. And that data is available to you easily. It's fed to you by this company, Water Watch Pro, who I have no financial relationship with. I just want to disclose that. But it will be fed to you, and you'll understand how much rain is falling up there. And I think that's really important. They use NOAA data, and they combine it with sensors. The other thing that's in there is a company called IntelliSense that has a flood watch. I guess you would call it a sensor. You put that up there, it's solar powered. It's like a game camera, but it measures water pressure, okay? It would alert you to when that spillway is getting to about, I don't know, you could put it at 5 feet below the actual spillway, you could put it at 1 foot, and it'll tell you how fast it's getting close to that. And the reason you want to know that is a spillway activation event is supposed to be between a 1% and 4% event. Well, we've done that twice in 12 years, so it's really not 1% and 4%. It's much more than that, and we kind of have to pay attention to that because we have a critical situation. you've got a dam that's got a big cut in it, and that will continue to erode. The whole problem of you know, the bigger dam repair, I don't know about that. That's way above my pay grade. I'll pray for you guys nonstop because that's a big thorny issue. But I do know that there are things that we can be doing now. I inspected Site 5 and Site 3 today. And what I found, and there's some recommendations in there, the cut is there, that needs to be taken care of. There's vegetative growth around the impact pool where the drain comes out. That should all be cut down. Okay, you want to be able to visually see that from the top. And right now you can't. There's some trees that were floated up by the storm. One of them's about an 80-foot paper birch, the other one's maybe 30 foot. Those need to be carved up and hauled out. There should be nothing in that spillway except grass. We probably do want to mow it as well. And then at Site 3, the dam tower has a bent grate on the front of it. Now it's only bent probably a foot in, but that metal grate keeps stuff from going into that drain pipe. So we kind of want to maybe replace that. It's probably a cheap repair. Site 3 also has a spillway cut much smaller than the one at Site 5. That's an easy fix. Take some riprap, some rock, or whatever they recommend, and dump it off the end there and refill that. Go ahead.
You keep on mentioning Site 3.
Oh, right across from you. Right across from where you live.
That's 4.
I call it Lower West Hill.
Okay. Just to clarify, that we don't have a third dam. We have a 1, 2, 4, and 5, correct?
No, we have 1, 2, 3, and 5 was my understanding. That was it. That was from a report that I pulled, but regardless, we'll call it Lower West Hill.
Which one you were talking about?
And Site 5 is Upper West Hill off of Trailside, way back in.
Right.
Okay, the other two are up there, but yeah, sorry if that's confusing. I was kind of shocked that there's one missing from out of the 5, but it's just the way it is. So that's it. I just wanted to recommend and make you aware of those. The cost on those sensors, $4,130 and change per. So for $16,000, you would have a system that's solar-based, and it would notify somebody, whoever the emergency person is, that the spillway is close to being activated. And that's only important because once that thing gets going, it's going, and we need to know that as a town. Or you guys need to know that, the emergency managers need to know that. And it'd be useful information, so I'd ask that you just consider that at some point. If it's helpful, great, and if there's anything else we can do, appreciate it.
Okay,
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks for spending time on this. It's important stuff. Appreciate it.
Any other comments from citizens? Liquor license action?
And Brett?
You have in front of you submitted a first-class restaurant bar license and a third-class restaurant bar license for Tortilla Restaurant Group, which will be known as Little Mexico, a restaurant that will be located in 57 Pond Street. Yeah, Little Mexico.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Guys opposed? Guys have it. Need signatures on that or?
No.
No?
Nope, just a motion.
Okay. I gotta skip back to number 2. I skipped over approved minutes from previous meeting of September 4th.
I make a motion to accept minutes as presented.
Have a second?
Is there a second?
Second.
Sorry.
Open for discussion.
On section 8, page 5 of 10, section 8, part B, no frills rental registry without Esri integration is, I believe, what I said.
Where is it?
With,
8?
yeah, with possible or with no Esri integration at the very end of, I'm sorry, under A, right at the very
A,
end.
oh.
My apologies.
Okay, with no frills, what should it be?
No frills rental registry with possible Esri integration. And then Mr. Silvestri talked about Esri, and we decided to not move forward with that.
Anything else?
That's it for me.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Guys opposed? Guys have it. Flood FEMA recovery update.
Just to give you all a brief update where we stand with FEMA, process still, as this, we know this is gonna be a long road. Working very closely with FEMA, trying to begin recapturing some of the funds that we've spent thus far after the flood recovery. Currently, the town has spent in the neighborhood of 1.1 million on flood damages. To give you an idea of where we would stand if everything goes smoothly and according to plan, and we get our 75% from FEMA and 12% from the state of Vermont, that would leave the town's expense about $154,000. Obviously, that's going to change as we go. That number will get bigger on both sides. So it is our goal to move forward with documentation. We've begun the process. All of FEMA has, very time-specific deadlines as things have to be reported, submitted, documents, pictures, et cetera. So with that, we did bring on a part-time consultant who was recommended for the by regional planning, just as a part-time employee that has been through Irene with the town of Windsor. So is very versed in FEMA, which I think will prove to be, it's a recaptured cost for her cost as well. Her name is Kelly Murphy. I think she will prove to be a very good asset for the town. For those of you who have been involved with FEMA, it is like speaking a different language. So if you have someone that can speak that language and can assist us, she will help us capture those costs and has been through the process and knows the pitfalls of what happened during Irene for towns. So again, she was brought on by Windsor. She was very highly recommended by regional planning. So I think that is a plus for the town where she can work with myself and Diane and the department heads to get the proper documentation flowing to our PMG, who's our project manager through FEMA, and get him the time so we can start getting our funds back to the town flowing in a timely basis. So that process will continue. I will provide you with financial updates as they come forward.
Where is that 1.1 being pulled from?
That's just the general fund.
We had enough in that general fund?
We
to
do
cover
right now.
that?
So for the town, with the taxes and tax collections, we are okay right now.
We just haven't submitted to the state? Is that-
Correct. So and Ula can speak, Ula's on if she can speak to this as well, that right now we've been approached obviously by a number of banks for loans. Not something we hope we have to do, but Ula and I we sit down all the time and see where we are. So right now we're in a fairly decent spot, and hopefully if we start getting the funds and documentation to FEMA, we start getting the funds back, it's kind of round and round we go.
Those taxes will be due for submission to the state November. I forget the exact date.
So sooner than later, correct.
We don't traditionally have a rainy day fund.
No.
I think the past select board members have always just beaten down the tax rate with whatever surplus we had. And I think that maybe moving forward, it'd be a wise idea to have a little rainy day fund.
Yeah, our fund balance is $500,000 right now.
What's that?
Our fund balance is in the neighborhood of 500,000. So,
Okay.
and that's what they recommend. Have to between 5 to 10% of your actual budget.
So we're in an okay place.
Currently, yes.
Great.
Okay, moving on, STR Granicus update.
So this is a topic that I have given a lot of thought about since our last meeting. I know that the short-term rental registry, the town has devoted some time and obviously money with the Granicus, and it's a polarizing topic. There's a lot of opinions that need to be gathered, and there's a number of directions the town could go. My recommendation to the select board at this point is that I do not feel that this is a topic that should be discussed and debated at a select board meeting in general. I think this should be done at a topic sensitive or topic driven meeting. That is maybe, we can call it a public hearing if we want, that is the only thing that people are here to talk about. That will, hopefully will draw more people out than just, our normal attendance at a select board meeting. It may drive people who have a special interest in coming to talk to it. We could arrange for a speaker. Had a few recommendations to have Julie Marks, who is the director of the Vermont Short-Term Rental Alliance. She just recently spoke at Stowe. She could come down and speak and answer a number of questions about what are the pros, the cons, and or benefits to the town and negative benefits to the town for having a short-term rental, answer questions from the public. But I feel that we've had it on for at least 6 months that I've been here. And it's just kind of been bounced around, and it's time for us to gather complete public input, have those meetings, and then come back, and when it is on the select board's agenda, a decision is going to be made one way or the other. So that way we're not kicking it down the road continuously. And that decision is either yay, we're going to do it and we're going to move forward with deciding how we do this, or B, we don't do it and we shall never talk about it again. That's just my personal input. I put I just feel as though we could sit here all night and talk about the pros and cons at this meeting and really not get anywhere until we, put actually have a few meetings specifically for that.
How long would it take to put that meeting together?
It's those meetings, because they're not necessarily a hearing, it's a public information meeting. They only have to be warned 48 hours in advance. So I would take the notice, we'd want to do it a little lead time so I can publicize it and get it out. But I get the dates that works for the board. We have it here. And that way, if people come, fantastic. If they don't, too bad, so sad. We tried. But I think just trying to direct a directed conversation, I think for me is the last step in this process before we make a final, if I'm going to be weighing in on a final decision. That's my input.
Feeling from the board?
When's the software contract?
Granicus is set for renewal on the 13th of November. So you could essentially have a meeting or two or so, depending on the output from the first one, and then renew the software by that point. That still gives you a full meeting, another November meeting.
Go ahead.
Hi there. I really like this idea. Do we have the names and addresses of everyone in this town who is currently operating a short-term rental through Granicus? Is that part of the data that's been collected?
To an extent, yes. Okay. I don't know if it is 100% of everyone, but the names can be generated. And it may not say Mr. or Mrs. Smith, but the LLC would be generated.
Okay.
Like 77% have been address identified.
Well, would it make sense for the town to send a letter to everyone in town that owns one of these properties so that people will be fully informed about the conversation and have an opportunity to attend? Because, all the people that are out of state that own these properties, how are they going to find out about it? If it's just warned in the local paper and they don't get the local paper, I don't
have a problem. It's not that difficult to do in the interest of
just a suggestion if you want input and stakeholders.
It's
involved.
Very easy to craft something. Yeah. I could do that. And
just
I have no problem.
Okay.
So I think that's a good
I
idea.
think it's a good idea.
And we can have
What do you
something by
wanna do?
mid-October, no problem.
Yeah, we're gonna do a couple weeks.
I will craft a letter that we can be sent out just as a notification, and I will work on getting dates that work for everyone.
Okay. Eric?
Thank you. Eric Alderman, Trailside Road. I think you need a little bit more structure to that meeting. by some sort of committee, side committee that is actually going to take all that input from the town and put together an actual plan to present in front of the select board. I think the meeting's great. There'll be a lot of debate, but then what do you do if someone isn't taking that and putting it together? What should be presented in front of the select board is an actual plan for the select board to vote on. So you're gonna need some sort of committee, whether you resurrect the registry committee that was formed before, or, you know, if it's some members of the select board, some of the planning board. But you probably need some body that's going to take all that feedback and put it into a package that could be presented and voted on.
Okay. We can put that all together.
Absolutely.
Draft. Okay.
100%.
So you can get some of those feet.
Moving on, Okemo winter season update.
Thank you for allowing us to be on your agenda. Myself, Bruce Schmidt, Vice President General Manager, and John Neal, Director of Resort Ops. I wanted to start coming and having more dialogue with the select board and the trustees on kind of what's going on and give an update. And I asked Brendan and the board chairs if we could be on the agenda, and appreciate being put on. And we'll probably do this again at the end of the season, because it's good to have let you know what's kind of going on, as well as questions that we might be able to answer. So I'm just going to go over a few things, and then John will, and then we can answer some questions. So we're planning on opening just like we would normally mid-November. The damage, while extreme in the town, at the mountain was not as much, and we're ready to go for the winter. We really feel confident. No lift issues, trail issues. We've dealt with some challenges at the Black River Pump Station, but things are looking good. And there is a little bit of a perception out there that I get probably asked it once a week what's going on, and I want to really assure all of you and anyone listening that we're ready to go, and we're ready for the ski season. We've done some projects. It wasn't a big capital year, no lifts or anything like that, but we do normal snowmaking upgrades. If you drive by the main parking lot, putting a new culvert in there, a large culvert, which is going to actually, John will talk a little bit about, but it's going to increase the width, so better and safer travel of pedestrians and cars, going into the parking lot. We're also doing, our normal lift maintenance work. We did a couple trail upgrades. We were permitted for a project where we took out the trees between the blackout lift and the half pipe. And what this will allow us to do is have better and safer terrain park features on the blackout trail without having the trees in there. So it took us 1.5 years to get a permit and get it done, but we were able to finish that this year. And we also received a permit to do another connector trail that allows, we have a beginner trail at the top called Sweet Solitude, and this trail just bypasses a large section that gets very windblown. So we're really, really excited about making the experience better, at the summit. Our plan is to start making snow on the 1st of November, and we will do our normal route. Last year we changed to going Upper World Cup to Lower Chief, and we're going to do that again. And then we would work on going over to Sapphire, Upper Arrow, Lower Arrow to the base. So that is kind of where we're headed, and then we would continue to add terrain as we can. And usually we are open the weekend or the Friday before Thanksgiving, and we'd add more as Thanksgiving came along. And then we would plan on opening up Jackson Gore around the 8th. As you know, there's a permit stipulation, so we can't start making snow there until the 1st of December. So we would shoot for around the 8th of December to be open. So I'm going to turn it over to John, and he's going to talk a little bit about some of the other things.
Thank you for speaking up so we can hear you.
Good evening, everyone. Thanks for having me. I seem to be here more often than lately. So yeah, just wanted to bring you up to date on parking and the guest arrival experience this year. We've done some really interesting things. Bruce just mentioned the new culvert project to the entrance of the main lot. We're really excited about that. You know, one of our pinch points during the season is always that main lot, trying to get people in there. The nice thing about the new culvert that we put in, it used to be 30 feet long. It's now 70 feet long. So we can load both the upper lot and the lower lot at the same time. So our main concern is obviously to continue to offload the road as quickly as possible and keep people moving. So a really big plus this year for us on the guest arrival experience. And when we talk about guest arrival, it's really changed in the last several years. Snowmaking, lifts, always a really important part, but it's that guest experience when people first get here. And we've gotten better and better at it. Last year with the 2-minute drop off, separating buses and cars, it's really improved, them getting in and out of the resort. So some pluses there. Also during the week, we tried to become a lot more efficient in moving our cars around, not trying to go to some of the blue lots and the red lots sometimes. So really we use our main lots first, we'll fill them, and then we've gotten pretty good at this, at managing our guests to actually move them to Jackson Ward to actually kind of balance our load, right? Very helpful. Interesting this year, and one of the things that we've been struggling with is how do we get the message out earlier when we're busy or when we do have one of those high volume days, right? We've been working on this for a while, and we finally found an opportunity with a technology vendor that's called Haas. And Haas has the ability to tie into the National Transportation System, and this company works with all the apps that we have these days, Waze, Google Maps, and they have a way of getting alerts out to all these people that have those apps on their phone. So the technology behind this now is that on the guest arrival, we may have a lot more time when people are coming to the area. We may be filling up, and we're going to give them other options if they need that, and let them know where they should be parking, and maybe even at some point how many spaces that we have left. So some really kind of exciting technology behind that. The other thing is we're working closely with the Ludlow Ambulance Service. Interesting part about this is Haas also has are very involved in the fire life safety and that process. With this package that we're acquiring, there's a transponder that we actually will give to the ambulance department, which is a really cool device, because what it allows us to do now is it not only allows us to be aware of when an ambulance is coming out, but anybody that has their Waze app or their Google apps up, they'll also get an alert. So that will help us clear the road more quickly when we're bringing in from something else, right? Also, last year and over the last 2 years, I guess it is now, we've been working really closely with the ambulance service on EMTs and transport, because obviously taking ambulance out of service to transport people is a big concern, and having enough EMTs available is another concern. We've been sharing our staff and patrol that are EMT qualified to actually transport people and to help with that. So I know I had a great conversation with Stephanie not too long ago about that. That relationship with Chris Lancaster, our director of ski patrol, is actually going really, really well in that relationship, and the ability to move people more quickly and not take an ambulance out of service in town has really been really helpful to us. So some really exciting things there. Let's see here, what else? So one of the other things that we haven't done lately, but that we're moving towards right now, is we're going to get with the fire department, and we used to do drills both at Jackson Gore at the mountain regarding training for that, and we haven't done that in the past. COVID, just a lot of things picking up after that, but we're going to get back to that. I'm going to try to get with Chief Belinda, schedule some times when we can actually schedule those events. So actually we'll be prepared in case we do have an emergency up there. So really good things going on up there. We're going to continue. Obviously our biggest concern is, moving traffic off of Main Street out of town as quickly as possible. We will have our road signage as we had last year. One of the things that we don't want to do is we want to try to keep our team out of the roads as much as possible and directing traffic these days. So we think some of the new technology we have behind us is going to help support that. So that's what I have. And if you have any questions, I'm more than glad to answer.
The work on that parking lot, some may think it's a small project, but for somebody that goes by there multiple times during the winter time, that is gonna be huge for moving traffic. It really is.
Yeah, absolutely.
A pedestrian walkway through there just congested it really bad, so.
And we've even done, you know, to bring that up, Scott, because one of the things that we have done is that we made it wide enough so we can create its own pedestrian walkway on the left-hand side coming out of the lot, so there's no cross traffic, you know, between pedestrians that are coming out. And we're looking at some other opportunities possibly there about actually putting a moving vehicle that actually transports similar to one at Trailside from the parking lot over to its minute drop off. So we've got some other things that we're considering also. Bruce, do you have something?
I just wanted to, you know, we talked about the ambulance, you know, it worked out, you know, really good, and we really appreciate, you know, the relationship with, you know, Stephanie. We have 6 patrollers that have EMT or EMTA or EMTP who work also for Ludlow Ambulance, and we're hoping to increase that. And we also have a paramedic that is a supervisor, and we freed her up so that there could be 4 responses during you know, the winter season. So just before we go into if there's any more questions, can't thank the town enough, all the employees and support from this board and the town manager during the flood. You know, it was everybody working together, and we really appreciate support. We were able to, you know, help with some equipment, which, you know, we were really glad to be able to do. It just was a really good, you know, working relationship. And, you know, many of our employees were affected. Our company has a foundation called Epic Promise, and our company gave, a few days after the flood, gave $30,000 to the Vermont Community Foundation in regards to the 3 resorts that we have, you know, in the state of Vermont. And we also went out and used some of our employee Epic Promise funds. We purchased about $5,500 worth of gift cards in the town and gave them out to employees to use. And then we also did about $3,000 worth of gift cards for actual flood victims that had damage to their homes or were displaced. We bought those at LaValle's and at Aubuchon's and Home Depot. We wanted to contribute to the community, but we wanted to also, you know, help our employees. So thank you very much for your support. And if you have any more questions, we're here to answer them.
Bruce, as a board, we want to thank you guys for all the help that you guys did. And I know you helped some of the guys that couldn't get out the first few days, and really appreciate you guys doing that for.
Yeah, it was, I'm glad they asked. I know even Brendan, I think, spent the night there. So
I made it over the mountain.
But it was something that we definitely were very proud that we could do. It was the least that we could do, seeing the damage that was out throughout the whole town.
Yeah. Alan?
Good evening. 2 questions to help just.
Oh, we need you at the speak. I'm getting waved up top. So.
Good evening. I have 2 questions to help dispel some rumors circling around town when I've been out and about. One is sort of for my own personal reference. The blue lot, is that going to get paved over with all those cleaned up in time for cars to park down there? And 2, I guess this is for Brendan. There are some rumors about the wastewater treatment plant and their capacity to handle the crowds this winter. And I think this has been addressed before, but I just wanted to confirm what I think I know so that I can spread that around town as well. Thank you.
Sure. So for the blue lot, yes, it'll be cleaned up. Ron Tarbo and I have kind of been laughing that this, I guess, is a good problem to have, because now we have all this excess gravel that we're going to crush. So we have it. That's all the debris that was taken out of the Jewel Brook, which we know while we were doing the work that supported the cleanup, it also was a benefit for the town because we have that much. So it will be moved. We're working on that. Company coming in to crush it, and it'll be stored up behind the town garage. So, yep, we'll be ready to go. For the wastewater plant, yes. As of right now, will be business as usual. They are working, as of today, they're working on filling in. There was, I say, a ditch, but a hole so they could get to the third ditch at the wastewater plant, which will, once they get that up and running, which should be by the end of the week, the plant will be at full capacity. I know I've used the word temporary quite a bit. That really at this point is referring to the buildings and some of the housing there. Operations as they are will move forward, and thankfully we'll move forward, and we could, if it was to snow tomorrow, we'd be ready to rock and roll. So testament to the guys working down there for sure.
Okay. Moving on, Jewel Brook Site Dam status update.
Jim took most of my information. That's all right. That's a good thing. That means we're all on the same page.
We're moving along.
Yeah, so with the dams, obviously, as we touched upon, I think you kind of hit the nail on the head with a lot of things. Obviously, spillway damage on 3 and 5 is the major concern for us right now. Les Wright and Bob Thompson, who are with the basically the National Resource Conservation Service out of Rutland, are going to be down here on Tuesday, not tomorrow, but next Tuesday. That project has gone out to bid, so the work for the repair on those spillways should be done hopefully by the end of October, which is very good. Again, that were the two pressing issues that we looked at for the dam. At the last meeting, I think I said that the question I was going to try and get from someone was exactly when we talk about these dams, there's a perception of exactly how dangerous are these things right now. Is it, you have a brand new dam and you have a dam that if it rains, it's going to fail, and we have a serious event on our hands. So trying to get that information was a struggle because obviously even an engineer isn't going to come out and tell you exactly. They're not going to put anything in writing per se, just obviously for liability reasons. I also, in the time that I was working on this, I did receive just recently, and I'd be more than happy to share them with everyone, is the periodic rapid inspection reports that were done by the state of Vermont on the 18th of July. So after this event. The event being long-winded, I'll kind of summarize, a lot of, what Jim shared here is correct, with the punch list and things to do. Spillways, top of the list, going to be done. Dam project, bigger project. So really kind of what I was getting at is I asked him, I said, exactly, how much fear should our community be in when we talk about these dams? This has been the elephant in the room. His answer was that the dams did what they were supposed to do. They did do what they were supposed to do. Every report, periodic report from the state of Vermont, rates every one of our dams currently in satisfactory condition, with the exception of the dam on Red Bridge Road. They do have safety concerns that have to be addressed. The spillways are one of them. The dredging is another. Those are things that are a big part of this big project that they have started, and the engineering reports and projects for that $40 million project that will put these things back to top working capacity. Just the engineering project takes 2 years to do. In the meantime, you're 100% right. This falls on us as citizens and owners of these dams to stay on top of them, keep them up to date, keep them in the top working condition that they can be. I was relieved in talking with them and reading their reports that the reports were not as dire as I expected that they might be when I read them. That's not by any means dismissing and saying that, oh, it's nothing to worry about, because it's something that we have to monitor. We had a emergency management department meeting, and there was talk about what's the best way to monitor. Can we put cameras up there, et cetera? These warning systems are a tremendous idea, because the time spent of myself, I did it multiple times, fire chief, police chief, driving up to check on the height of the dams is not only a waste of time, but it's unsafe because you're always hoping, well, they've been gone for a while. I hope they didn't fall in somewhere. So that's something I think we need to look at as flood mitigation measures. So again, if anyone wants these reports, I'd be more than happy to share them with you. I can send them during email. But overall, that process will have more to report later on, but spillways to be done by the end of the month and more reports on the actual bigger scope of that project. Obviously, we're into it for $10 million, but it's something that needs to be done.
Okay. Recreation field, rebuild location, discussion and action.
This is something, again, that I've given a lot of thought to. You know, obviously, right now, soccer season's going on for the rec programs. So with Dorsey and Fletcher Field, we have, we're okay right there, but we need to move on plans and proper replacement of the Little League fields. Obviously, there's nothing there now except for some broken fence and a lot of debris that was taken out of the river. I think it would be foolish of us as a town to not utilize the field at the high school for a Little League combination. Could be Little League high school rec field. That is a perfect location that will not be flooded, obviously. The preliminary numbers that I've gotten from Nick are we're looking at to replace the Little League field as is right now, $78,000 to $100,000 to replace that and remediate everything down there, which obviously we could be in the same place again. To bring that and use the high school field right now, I think is our best option. You know, you can transform that into a diamond that has 60-foot bases, 90-foot bases if you wanted to play it, you know, high school and above, Babe Ruth. We have the facilities, lights. What kid doesn't want to play on the lights? Our infrastructure is already there with bathrooms, parking, and it can be done for about half of that cost. I just really feel that this is an opportunity. To me, it seems too easy. Before I was in the municipal town, I was an athletic director for 10 years, so I've been around a baseball field and soccer field, and this just strikes me as too good of an opportunity to pass up in a place to grow. You could utilize it for younger kids too, because all they do is, you know, when they're just learning the game, they don't need a lot of space. You're either chasing the ball or a butterfly, and they can do it all right there. So I think that I would ask for the consent of the board to allow us to move this project forward because I need to get the ball rolling with contractors so they're ready in the spring to do this. So ideally, the season won't open there because work will have to be done, but hopefully we could finish the season and have the kids playing on their own field to end their season in the summer. So that's, I think, I've given a lot of thought, and I don't see, and people I've talked to, I don't see a negative to this.
Are you looking for a motion or just?
Just a consensus, to be honest with you. I'll need a motion when we have contractors because these are going to have to go out to bid. And I'm going to, you know, ask the rec committee to give us some of those recommendations.
Well, I stand firmly behind that decision.
Absolutely. Yep. Same.
I think that's a good decision.
Okay, and we'll move on that.
Other business.
I don't have any.
One question.
Go ahead.
One question, Brendan. How, other business, how are we doing on the town website? New
Good.
website?
I'll cover that briefly in the update.
Okay.
This gentleman's name, please.
My name is George Gouldy, G-U-L-D-I, 15 Bowker Court, Ludlow. I was here last month to talk about the dangerous and insane condition on Bowker Road, the fact that it is illegally crossing private property, the fact that it's 25 miles an hour with two directional traffic and 13 feet wide. That's a head-on collision. I have sent the town a cease and desist letter. But here I was here a month ago, and I asked the board to authorize negotiations to commence for me to give you to make changes in the road so it's not a threat to my life every time I step off my doorstep, which is 3/4 of 1 inch from the road. During that time, I asked you to authorize the manager to talk to the town attorney and commence negotiation of that. I have some real deadlines that are external. I called the manager once. He said he'd spoken to the town attorney and needed to get the consensus of this board and get back to me. I'm still waiting for that call. So I'd like to know where we are.
Tonight's the night I talked to the board, George.
All right, well, is that public?
No.
So when will I hear?
I can give you a call tomorrow morning.
Okay, so then I'll wait the phone call. But my real deadline is October 30. And if we don't have a resolution of it by October 30, my only option is to gate it and close the road. And that's what I wanted to avoid, and that's why I came last month, and that's why I'm here again tonight. Okay?
Yeah, this is our first meeting since I spoke with you.
Yeah, I understand it. So I'll hear from you.
You will hear from me in the morning.
Look forward to your call.
Okay, department head reports you guys have.
Point of order, I'm actually missing 3 of them, I think.
Should have passed.
You should have had
There were 2
they
that
were
were passed
Passed
out.
out.
They were passed out.
You don't have the police departments.
We don't have the police departments because Jeff was gone.
Yeah, but these were passed out.
Okay.
You had those, yeah, gave you those.
Fire department and
Fire
transfer.
department, transfer station, police department, Jeff was gone, so.
Got it.
Any questions on those?
I didn't have any.
Okay,
Just one question. When do we expect A1 back? Or is it back already?
Should be back maybe this week.
Okay.
Hopefully, I've got to check.
solves
just
all
check
the problems?
with Stephanie, because it's
That's
being
cool.
worked on right now.
municipal manager update.
So just to give you just kind of a few PSAs, emergency watershed program, which I brought up last, is the program that the state of Vermont has issued and looks at properties and watershed issues with the river that could jeopardize town infrastructure and or public or private property. It's a 75-25% match. Some people have applied for this in accordance with the town. They're coming to do site visits next week. Majority of those are some places on really the
South
Jewel
Jewel
Brook. Yeah, 100 South is really one of the tough places. Just an update, brief update on Shaw's and the health center. I've had some back and forth with Shaw's. They had their DRB hearing that was recessed last week due to some unforeseen circumstances that I won't elaborate on right now, but they are moving forward. This situation may allow them to come back a little bit better. Do have a call hopefully set up for the end of this week with a couple of their corporate execs that will give us a good deadline on when exactly they will be open, but signs point towards before the ski season and winter season arrives, so that's going to be a positive. Health center, last conversation with their property manager was the health center in Ludlow will be back in operation inside by the middle of October.
By the middle of when?
October. Chili cook-off this weekend in town. I believe it happens right out here. Right? Correct me if I'm wrong.
Close
I
off
better
the-
find it because I'm judging, so I bet it. So, skate park grand reopening, Justin, on Saturday as well.
Correct.
7th.
Yep.
So that'll be good. That will be the grand reopening that almost happened.
That's right. Scary stuff.
Emergency generator has been installed 95% at the community center. So that's a backup emergency generator that was done as part of a grant that was awarded to the town last year. We had a deadline this year of November 7th to get that work done. So Brookfield was able to step up and power through that, which is very good. And Bob had mentioned website and the text all alert now system. Those are both in process have a couple of different options, one proposal, two for the website that I will share with you, with the board. Have had a few different online demonstrations for some websites, as well as, again, multiple of the alert text all programs, which will be a benefit to the town. Those will be decisions that will probably be put before this board in November. And again, hopefully having both, at least the text all notification system up and running by Thanksgiving.
Great.
Okay, set date for next meeting, November 6th. Possible items for next meeting. We'll have some preliminary budget stuff for us.
Yep.
Sign more orders. I think everything's been done. And then executive sessions needed, so need a motion.
Make a motion to go into executive session to discuss
Personnel
personnel
contracts.
contracts and legal issues.
Who seconded it?
Scott.
Oh,
Oh.
yeah.
I'm Ed Kelly. I just wanted to let everybody know that Divided Sky is having an open house next Friday.
Who is?
So
Divided Sky.
Up on the hill there behind the golf course. 1 to 4 for neighbors, friends, and interested folks to
And
take
that's
a
this
walk through.
weekend, this one?
That is Friday the 6th, October 6th.
Thanks for that.
Thanks. Okay, so all those in favor for going into. All those in favor for going into executive session, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Guys opposed?